Maybe these are the fellas, their house is so small there, you can see, they live in this rumah murah kind of thing. Are these the people? Who are they? I don't get to see them. Yeah. Now, poverty incidence is higher among those with lower educational level. You can see here, the tertiary education, very little. As those, look at that. Those who only have religious and no formal education, look at that, very high. We have to be very careful here. You say, hey, wait a minute, people without education, you become more poorer. And this is shown in data. Now, the good news, of course, increasing educational attainment reduces poverty, but more so in the urban area rather than the rural area. Now, again, our education level of the workforce is relatively low, and I think some of my fellow people from HR is here. We are very concerned about this. The next one especially, applicants of lacks of skills in jobs. One of the two biggest problems when we meet people and we interview people is, number one, their English banyak koyak. Yeah. And it is a big issue. One of my clients told me, she asked the applicant, how do you find your job? How do you find your job? You're working now in the one company. How do you find your job? He said, I find my job through the newspaper. Yeah, you see what I mean? So one is that we notice that English is rather poor, and number two is social skills is almost zero. Yeah, in other words, they can't really converse or chit chat or just say hello and just look straight in the eyes and say, look at you and smile. Yeah, and it's a big issue. And it's a big issue because after you see that the problem is that we have more and more sales and service jobs, not jobs that sit down and do work alone. Yeah. Now again here, this to show the Gini coefficient to show the gap between the rich and the poor. You see our incidence of poverty has dropped drastically, but you notice Gini coefficient is still very high. Yeah, it's a concern. Sorry, it's a bit small. I'll read out for you the concerns. The urban population swelled from 30% in 1960, 40% in 1980, 60% in 2000, and today 68% of Malaysians are staying in the urban areas. Yeah, urban poverty is fast becoming a big challenge now. Yeah, formerly rural households who have moved to urban areas tend to have a low level of education and tend to become employed in low earning sectors where skill requirements are limited. So that's going to be a concern. Yeah. And since 1984, inequality has remained largely unchanged for the country as a whole, although inequality has decreased in rural areas. Currently, in the year 2009, the bottom 40%, I was saying just now, of household account for only 14.3% of total income. Yeah, whereas the top 20% is taking 50%. So our country is really moving apart. Yeah, where the rich is getting a little bit richer and the poorer is remaining down there. Anything of such things is like a fault line. In 2009, 80% of poor households were located in 5 provinces: Kedah, Kelantan, Terengganu, Sabah, and Sarawak. Again, you notice there are pockets here and there. Many of the poor also concentrated among households headed by someone with a prime working age between 30 to 59. Yeah, so if your parents don't have money, imagine you have 5 or 6 kids at home, think what will happen. We are not looking into, the final one is my crazy contribution. Yeah, we are not looking into the family home culture. Every time we look at economic policy, we are not looking into the home culture. Just quickly, I'll show you. Within Poverty Group, I give you reading and the culture towards education. Now, this is my generation. You please draw your own. Yeah, please go and look what's happening. When I was young, let's look at the Malay house, Indian house, and the Chinese houses. Let's study the feng shui of these houses. All right. Let's look at the Malay houses. Generally, Malay houses, the nicest place is where normally? Where's the nicest place?
Sitting room.
Sitting room. Thank you very much. Malay houses, very nice sitting room. You got a romantic yellow light there. All right. And our parents don't allow us to move the table so much, share so much. That's the Malay house. We like to use nice romantic light. You go to the Malay area, it's so romantic. You feel like becoming a poet. Now the Malays like to put pictures last time on the TV. Decorative, sorry. Now here the Indian houses almost the same over there. my good friend, last time, in the houses, the front side very nice, huh? But the Indians like to put pictures on the TV, though. The Malays like to put decoration, yeah, and pictures on the TV. Now, let's look at the Chinese houses when I was growing up. This is the Malay kampong, the Indian more estate like, and here is, of course, the Chinese new villages. The Chinese, do you think there's a lot of things in front of the house? A lot of, no, huh? When you go to the Chinese house, what's the first thing you see? What's the first thing you see? Angkonga. Yeah, whether it's a Buddha or Kangkong or Pai Di Kong. Huh? Yeah. And the Chinese, during my time, yeah, they do not have all these things in front of the house. Yeah. What they have is a round table and a square table. A round table for eating, square table for mahjong. Alright? And the Chinese people, remember the culture, home culture is so important. The Chinese people, and during my time, I can see very clearly at 6 o'clock they have to come home. Because the mother is standing in front of the house with a rotan. And after they shower, they will read there. They do their homework, so they have a reading corner. And the Chinese use this kind of lights. No, nothing romantic about the houses. Yeah, and the Chinese have control because the mother is standing there or playing mahjong with a rotan. Whereas the Malay kids and the Chinese kids are happily inside the room, not reading. Yeah, and you see the Chinese people, you have to study this, yeah, they have TV. But your father will have a lazy chair right in front of the TV, blocking. You know the lazy chairs? When your father wake up, there's line behind it, or your grandfather. Yeah, and it's blocking. So if we don't look at what's happening at home, we can throw in millions of ringgit. It won't work. That's something maybe you all can think about later. Yeah. This is quickly the NEM goals. I just want to go the front one. Good for us. The new economic model spoke about the 40% household. The target assistance of bottom 40% of household, of which 77.2% are Bumi-Putra, and many are located in Sabah and Sarawak. So good news. Just go read about NEM. Don't just throw it away. Yeah. What youth can do, as you can see, I put the U there, a bit red. Yeah. Youth can do. I'm going to suggest you use the DEAR method. How long do I have, I think? 5 more minutes? 15 minutes already. Oh, sorry. Can I have 2-3 minutes? Can. Yeah. I want to introduce you to the DEAR method. Yeah, the DEAR method. This you can see Dr. Chandra spoke about it. Yeah, Marina spoke about it. All four other my panelists spoke about it. Now, the first thing we need to do in DEAR method is, number one, you must define reality. Guys, define reality. Yeah. Look at history even-handedly. Yeah. Calling a spade a spade. Hitam kata hitam, putih kata putih. Truth is paramount. By defining reality, we must deliberately and without emotional attachment to any particular likes or dislikes, you generate the positive and negative aspects of the concern. Don't care whether you like Najib or you like Anwar, you like or dislike that. It does not matter. What we need to do is to look at policies, as Jonson said, look at it and see what is right, what is wrong, without your emotional attachment. We need to do that. Yeah. I don't even have to like your face, tell them that. But I will look at your policies. If it is good, I will follow. If it is bad, I will tell you so. We must define reality. Truth is paramount. Put your emotions aside. As Dr. Chandra was saying, everybody is getting so emotional. Put your emotion aside. Look at whatever policies that is given, what is good, what is bad. This is where in the business world we call it the SWOT analysis. Please Google and you can get it now. SWOT analysis. SWOT. Strength, weaknesses, opportunity, threat. Alright guys? Now after we define reality, yeah, don't like, everyone said, oh, die lah, my country gonna go lah. No. We must envision a better future. We have to look at the future in a positive sense, where our brother just now spoke about it. Tim, we must inspire ourselves, yeah, and provide and inspire others with a bright future that provides hope. Without hope, we might as well all tutup kedai. And the reason we have a God, because God provides hope. That's the reason why we have a religion. We want to have hope. So we must have hope. Whatever happened in the past, let's look at it. What we do is, eventually by the future, we suggest specific mission areas, we make new plans. Yeah, and we generate new energy from however small the strength that we may have. We work from our niche.